Oh, thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, it's been quite the week.
I would imagine.
I don't really know what time it is at night. I don't know what day it is right now. So I know we got limited time before we start playing this real football.
How uncertain is the interior of the O-line right now, and how many contingencies can you look into with less than 2 weeks to game day?
I don't think it's uncertain. I mean, we practice a ton, right? We've gotten a ton of reps since winter, all the way up until now. So I think we have a solid option up front, and we won't reveal that till we get out there. But I like where we're at. Our scrimmage on Saturday, I think we did a much better job of running the football, creating explosive passes. So we're right where we need to be, and I'm looking forward to start really prepping for some games.
Philosophically, do you approach solving something like that as, if the problem is that filling a right guard position, is it 1-for-1, or are you open to musical chairs of, all right, well, maybe you have to move somebody else to plug that, and if that opens another hole, well, so be it. And then
yeah, I mean, I think the way that we practice, we do musical chairs. We play with different lineups. We put guys that play tackle in at guard just for position flex. I mean, you look at a guy like Steve Jones last year, what he did for us, and provided flex at tackle, guard. So we cross-train our guys all the time, not only O-line, wide-outs, tight ends. So I feel good with where we're at.
Have you seen Pancho kind of grow into playing center?
Well, there's so much up front, not just blocking, which he's more than capable because he's got the size and the strength factor, but there's a lot of calls. I mean, he's the second quarterback on the field, identifying the front, identifying the ID. So there's a lot that he's learned over the past 6-7 months, but he's done a hell of a job. And I think his just physicality up front is something that I'm really excited about come fall.
Where do you think the offense has just grown the most from the first day of fall camp until now?
I think guys just getting on the same page. Like, it just takes time. Offensive football is so unique because all 11 truly have to be on the same page for a play to be successful. So, I think it starts with our quarterbacks. We got a lot of new, and they're at a point now where they're really handling things up front. Again, run checks, protection checks, changing routes. So I feel good with where we're at, and I'm just going to continue to practice and get things right.
How's that marriage between the center and the quarterback? Because you're both new at both. How has that kind of gone in terms of the checks and the communications and the pre-snap adjustments?
It's huge. It really is. The good thing with coach-to-player communication, headset communication, I'm able to talk up until 15, and you don't want to talk too much because it can just become white noise of the QB. But giving them specific things within the play to, hey, if we get this, check to that also helps as well.
How set in stone is your communication there going into a season where you've kind of never done this before, and how open are you to changing as you kind of go and figuring out what the right and wrong maybe are?
Yeah, it is, but we've been working it now since spring ball, so I've learned along the way, and it is new because I think there's a fine line. You got to figure out what the quarterback likes. Like, do you want a lot of communication or not a lot? So it just depends on the guy. But yeah, it's been really smooth this fall camp.
Nishad's been an experienced starter before. A year ago, he was contending here until the arm injury, and then that probably set him back in terms of the path back. Where is he now in terms of being capable of, if you have got to call on him for one of those guard spots?
Yeah, I feel good about Nishad, along with a lot of other guys up front. It goes back to knowing what to do. When you practice against our defense, who does a lot up front, sometimes it takes a little time. I mean, O-line doesn't matter if you're a senior or a freshman, it's still developmental. And when you get to this system where you have a good amount of scheme and you see a lot every single day, it just takes time. So he's at a spot now where I think he feels really comfortable in what we're doing, what we're asking him to do, and then allowing himself to play free and what we brought him here to do, play physical.
Where's Dante's level of command of the offense? 2 scrimmages in, 2 fall camps, spring. Where's kind of he at right now?
I mean, I feel good about where Dante's at, along with Austin and Dylan. And he's still learning and growing. We just got to continue to take easy money throws at quarterback because we have elite talent on the edge, our tight ends, our backs. Get them the ball quickly, let them go do work. So I think he's still learning and growing in our system, but he's at a point now where I feel really good about his progress.
I know there was 2 takeaways in the scrimmage on Saturday. Now that you got a chance to kind of look at the film, what are some of the goals for the quarterbacks to kind of limit those takeaways heading into game week?
Like I just said, take the easy money. Everybody wants these 50-yard bombs every play. It's not reality. Everybody watched Bo last night. John Payton, right? Dink, dunk, curl, shot, run it in. Like, it's not rocket science. Everybody wants air yards, all this BS crap. Let's score touchdowns. How you score touchdowns? Get it to your playmakers fast. That's it. It's not rocket science. Everybody confuses that. So when our quarterbacks figure that out, just like Bo did last year, you throw 45 touchdowns, 4,500 yards, and you score a ton of points. So that's where we got to get to. And we're nearing that. I feel really good with our first group and some immediate backups. We got to continue to lean on just trusting the scheme, trust the system, and take the easy money.
What's kind of the vision for Trayshawn, and do you want the wide receiver 3 targets in production to be like what DeCorian was for you in terms of maybe the distribution be maybe other than 1,000, then down to 400 and 500, more maybe 1,000, 700 if you could get there kind of thing?
Yeah, I mean, I think, our third receiver spot, I guess you could call it, I think it can come from a lot of different people. Bucky had 53 catches last year, so our backs are utilized a lot in the pass game. I'd like to see Terrence Ferguson and Kenyon, their production go up, because if they're catching the ball, I think they're super dangerous. So Trayshawn's done a phenomenal job. I don't consider him a third wideout. I think we got 4 or 5 guys that can really put on a show every single game. So it's just a matter of us doing an excellent job in our game prep, personnelling specific plays for specific kids, because we got a lot of talent. So it's going to be, a good challenge as a coach to make sure everybody's getting involved and getting involved early.
You mentioned in the spring, kind of talking about receiver rotations, playing maybe more than just the 4 or 5 guys. Is that something that's still on the table, and kind of what have you seen from some of the maybe unproven players?
Yeah, I mean, like Kyler's done a really good job this fall camp. Justice Lowe has shown up. Jurion's getting back on the field, and he's at a really good weight, and he's playing fast. So I wish everybody could catch the ball. You know what I'm saying? I wish everybody could score touchdowns. And but what are we going to do to win games is depending on the game plan, the flow. Are we running it well? Are we throwing it well? Like, it just depends on, every play is different. So I want everybody to eat, but ultimately we won't win football games. So whatever we got to do to get that done, that's the number one goal.
What stood out with Justice and just his development? Because Tez was hyping him up after the spring game. A lot of players have talked about him. Drew mentioned him as a guy that's had a big camp. What have you just seen?
Yeah, I mean, it's like potential is everything that you're not. Like, he's got a ton of potential. It's just putting it on the field every single day. Super fast, catches it effortlessly, smooth route runner, good with the ball in his hands, smart kid. So the sky's a limit for him. It's just time on task, sticking to it, and I think he can be a really, really good player here.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.